So let's go into that. I think the next question we should answer is that one I mentioned earlier, like what's the best sports nutrition plan for somebody on baseline? Okay. And first off, we need to frame it in 24 hours. Okay. I'm going to give you 5 simple things, and these 5 simple things can work at baseline, I think, for everybody. And then I want to hear your response on how you think you're doing at these things and any questions that you might have as we break this down. Generic, this is for the kind of vast majority, I would say, of people, the 80% plus who are looking through the lens at which we're looking through today, which is, hey, I want to be 2 to 4 weeks from peak performance at any given time. Okay? So here's the 5 simple rules. Rule number 1, have a 250 to 500 calorie deficit per day. 500 if you want to be more aggressive and be leaner. 250 if you want to gain muscle a little faster. Very simple. Number 2, 1 gram of protein per ideal weight. 1 gram of protein per ideal weight. If you do that, most of the carbs and fats, they'll take care of themselves. 1 ounce of water per ideal weight. 1 ounce of water per ideal weight. Number 4, eat carbs after your workout only. Eat carbs after your workout only. Number 5, overnight fast for 12 hours at least every single day. Those are the 5 steps. If you want to do what we call what we basically say like is body recomposition, that's a body recomp goal, or AKA athletic performance. You want to be able to lift a lot of weight, run fast, and do both of those things kind of back to back. This is the type of eating strategy that you would need to fuel athletic performance, to stay lean full time, to continue to get stronger, okay? Not maximizing either one, not going into a deep calorie deficit where you just get so lean that you sacrifice performance in the gym, and not bulking, right? Or getting having a calorie surplus so you maximize your strength, but you also gain a ton of body fat while doing it. This is that middle in which you're ready at any 2 to 4 week period to ramp up a goal of strength or ramp up a goal of getting more lean. Either way, you're 2 to 4 weeks out, making a couple adjustments in this program to be able to do it. Just a baseline. What do you think?
So, a question that I have for you, Devan. So, if I'm looking at my week, and it's real easy for me Monday through Friday to plan out my what I'm going to eat in the week, right? But then we get to the weekend, and we might have a date night, or we might have a party. I might be consuming alcoholic beverages because we're having a long date night, but whatever it is. How does that weekly view impact versus like the 24-hour window? Can you dive into that a little bit for me?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the question is, do we look at nutrition on a day-by-day basis, or do we need to look at nutrition in a longer scope of time, like a week? And the answer is that you have to look at it in a week, because if you're just looking at it day by day by day by day, and you look at like one complete day as being good, well, you're not quite there yet, right? Because you can have 3, 4, 5, 6 good days in a row, and then one day can essentially wipe out that entire good week. And we see this happening all the time. People say, DK, I'm doing really well. And I'm like, my next question is, how often? Most of the time, right? Most of the time is what really starts to derail our progress. And so I'm a huge fan of sticking to these five kind of things. I'll repeat this, okay? 250 to 500 calorie deficit per day. 1 gram of protein per ideal weight, 1 ounce of water per ideal weight. Eat carbohydrates after your workout, okay? And overnight fast for 12 hours every day. If you do these 5 things, you're going to be able to afford some alcohol one day, maybe 2 days a week, but don't get carried away, because alcohol will derail you faster than anything besides maybe sugar as its equal, okay? Alcohol and sugar are the killer to this program. But what I will say is, even if you have sugar and you have alcohol, if you're not going to be able to have an ideal macronutrient profile when those 2 things are present. But even if you just, rule number 1, stay in a calorie deficit of 250 to 500, you might not have the perfect macros every day, but you're not going to derail your progress because you're not going to go out there and sit down at, how often do we do this? We'll sit down for dinner and we'll have, done good all week long. Then the bread comes out.
I was just going to say the bread basket.
The bread basket comes out, right? Or if you're at a Mexican restaurant, the chips and cheese come out. And then before you even know it, you've got like 3,000 calories of chips and cheese down already. Before your dinner, on top of alcohol.
I say add a margarita, and then the chips and cheese just keep flowing even more.
You got to confess, Chelsea. You got to just confess. That's what it's all about. We've all done this. It's okay. No shame in your game. But the reality is that you can't let discipline go out the window on any given day. That's what I want you to hear. Is you can be flexible, but you can't just to hell with all discipline.
I really like the way you've mapped this out, because it does set you up for success to live within that 2 to 4 week window, like you said, because it's not restricting you. If you can plan out your week, that's my strategy, is I know exactly what I'm consuming Monday through Friday for the most part, unless someone throws a loop in there, we have a middle, whatever happens, I don't know. But I'm just saying, for the most part, I know what I'm going to consume. So I do leave a little extra room for calorie intake on a Saturday if I know we have something going on. And if we don't, great, then I'm still going to be in that calorie deficit, because I want to stay in that nice sweet window to where I'm not then coming up for a friend's wedding and I'm like, shoot, I got to lose 25 pounds real fast.
You want to be within striking range, from my friends. Within striking range, that's what this is going to do. So we're going to keep moving through this. Let's go here. Let's spend, because we won't spend too much time during. There's not a lot of principles for during that are important outside of, this is really where I want us to focus on hydration. Mm-hmm. But let's just talk about overnight fasting, okay? Because this one that people are like, what do you mean by overnight fasting? So we all fast overnight, or you at least should fast overnight. How do you know we all should do this? Because we all call it breakfast, okay? So eating carbs after your workout, we'll go into that post-workout as we get to phase 3 here. But before your workout, right, is very important. Before your workout, it's eating carbs after your workout, which would be also before the workout the next day. The next thing is overnight fasting for 12 hours at least. And I learned this from thousands of focus meetings and feedback from you guys out there in Burn Nation. And this is the one problem that although I respect and love science and all the PhDs that dedicate their life toward fitness, nutrition, and psychology, but the one problem that I have is most often scientists and PhDs are doing these tests and these experiments and coming to their conclusions in labs and with controlled clinical settings that are not real life, right? Let's be honest. There's a reason it's called the placebo, because if you are in a clinical setting, you have a different outlook, a different mental state, a different approach psychologically to how you're going to go about and do something, which doesn't have which has a different effect as if you're waking up, like at your house on a Wednesday and just doing normal real life, okay? So I take all the papers and all the recommendations with a grain of salt, although I respect them, but I weigh on my practical, hands-on experience. I've done this thousands and thousands and thousands of times over, so many times that I would have to be, you guys, an idiot. And I'm not. I'd have to be an idiot not to notice the patterns that are inside of people and their behavior. Okay, and one thing that I noticed is that people are more vibrant, they're more glowing, they have more energy when they have they have a better body fat to weight ratio, they have a better BMI, all the things, all the biometrics are much better if you incorporate an overnight fast. Our bodies are not meant to eat all day, every day. We are not meant to eat at midnight and wake up in the middle of the night and have a snack and then eat breakfast at 7 or 8 a.m. We are not meant to feed all the time, okay? So a lot of studies will show the power and the effects of fasting, but like every industry, you're always going to have competing opinions. And in the scientific world, everyone wants their opinion to be right. So then, therefore, everything has this hard kind of elitist kind of I am right, you're wrong side to it. And the answer is always somewhere in the middle. It's always somewhere in the middle. I'm not talking about a hardcore fast. I'm just talking about what humans were designed to do. Mm-hmm. That's go to sleep, and not eat while you're sleeping, and then wake up and then eat some food, right? It's very simple, and it shouldn't be something that's like shocking or has like a clickbait headline to it, okay? Focus meetings started with me not knowing any of this stuff, and then thousands of focus meetings later, after the parking lot days, I've learned it all and been able to learn it through helping you. So if you want to be metabolically flexible, 12-hour fasts overnight are something that maybe you guys are doing the other 4, maybe not the 12-hour overnight fast, okay? So that'll be something that you'll really want to do before your workout, no matter what, okay? To reset, you're going to release growth hormone. You're going to release you're not going to blunt growth hormone, which most importantly during your sleep will have big recovery benefits for you, okay? Muscle protein synthesis is optimized. Autophagy is peaked out, and you're cleaning up your body's folded proteins in a mild sense overnight when you do this type of fasting on a regular basis. So before the workout, I want to make sure that before we move on to phase 2, that you understand that that's very important. It's like a reset button for you to get up and train the next day, regardless of whether you do some fast-acting carbs 30 minutes before a workout or not.
So if I am a normal human and I'm like, oh crap, it's 8 o'clock. It's my feeding time needs to be end at 8 o'clock, but I didn't hit my protein goal today. Would you say that it's okay for me to then just shift that protein, that if I was going to have a protein shake or whatever it is, to the next day?
Nope. I want you to get our body's ability. So the question is, if I'm running late on my protein at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, it's 8 o'clock p.m. And, you know, if I eat right now, it'll be within that 2-hour time frame before I go to bed. And Devan said if I do that, then I'm going to blunt hormones like GH, which is going to help me really recover as I sleep. Well, if you don't have adequate protein in your body, then you're not going to adequately recover in the first place, right? And so this is where the 24-hour rule comes in. Our body has an immaculate ability to use protein, okay? Protein is a structure molecule. Carbohydrates and fats are energy. And I want you to realize that if you don't get your protein in a 24-hour period, then your structure of your body will sacrifice. Your tendons, your muscles, your biochemistry, your enzymes, for an example, all of this will suffer, right? And your body has a crazy ability to absorb protein. There's a certain threshold in which protein will go through like gluconeogenesis. You don't have to know what that is, but there's a high threshold. We used to think that it was like, oh, you can only absorb 20 to 30 grams at a time. No, that's what the scientists were saying. But what really actually came true as we studied deeper was that you could absorb, that 20 to 30, some studies were like 40 grams of protein for muscle protein synthesis, or in direct relationship to your actual muscle, not all the other things that I'm talking about, not the other structural elements of your body that will use that protein. So you got to eat a lot of it in order to not use it. And so if you have more than 40 grams of protein in any serving, it becomes body fat, is not true.
Cool.
Does that help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
I can definitely attest to the 12-hour fast too, because ever since we did our fasting episode, 518, shameless plug, I'll put it in the show notes. It's really helped me. Like, I sleep better, and me personally, I'm training for level up games. So like,
let's go.
I've tried to dial it all in, but like, it's helped me sleep. My training has been better, and like when I had my focus meeting, I'm down like 2% body fat already in like 4 weeks.
Good.
So it makes like it definitely, if there's anybody that's on the fence about it, even if it's like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., like, it works. It's been helpful.
Overnight fast, okay? So I just want to be clear before we move on to phase 2 that to me, those 5 things on a 24-hour period are the most important. And if you can get that overnight fast in there, that's going to really prepare you. It's going to reset your body. It's going to prepare you for the next day, given your nutrition was good. Okay. Are we ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
I think we are.